How do the least expensive two-wheel drive electric vehicles compare with each other? A two-wheel drive vehicle is going to cost less than an all-wheel drive vehicle, of course. And currently in July 2023, there are 14 different two-wheel drive EVs that cost less than the least expensive all-wheel drive EV that I was able to find. I'm going to compare these vehicles, 8 of them in depth, in this video. For my methodology, I did a search on cars.com for the best price on these cars that I could find. I'm going to tell you their MSRP, what the best listing price was from the dealer on cars.com, and I'm going to subtract what, if any, federal tax credit the vehicle would be eligible for if you as the buyer are able to claim that full liability. I'm going to use the vehicle's EPA range. I'm going to divide it by the kilowatt hour battery pack size to get an estimate on average efficiency in terms of miles per kilowatt hour. I'm going to let you know what the resale value is based on another search on cars.com looking for used vehicles 1 year old in the same make, model, and trim, and take the used car price as a percentage of the vehicle's MSRP. I'm also going to tell you what the car's charge time would be using an estimated trip on a better route planner going from Six Flags Over Texas in Arlington, Texas to the Galveston Pier in Galveston, Texas and back for 615 miles. A better route planner will tell me an estimated time spent charging on that trip, and I'll report that back to you. I rank each of these vehicles on a must system. I'll be ranking the top 8, so the first place vehicle in that category will receive 8 points, the second place will receive 7, and so on. The least expensive all-wheel drive EV that I discovered last week was a Volkswagen ID4 with a net price of $38,473. So just to look at the 14 vehicles that cost less than that, there was a nice natural price break between 8th place and 9th place. There was a $3,000+ gap. So I'm going to focus on the top 8, but those bottom 6 I'm going to kind of throw in here an honorable mention. We've got the Nissan Ariya Engage with an MSRP of $44,785 and a best price of $38,500. The Ford Mustang Mach-e Select with an MSRP of $47,795, a best price of $41,795, minus as much as a $3,750 tax credit for a net price of $38,045. The Kia EV6 Lite trim with an MSRP of $44,595 and a best price of $37,277, but there are only 18 of those Kia EV6 in that trim level available in the entire country. The Hyundai Ioniq 6 with an MSRP of $43,225 and a best price of $35,725. The Hyundai Ioniq 5 with a MSRP of $43,200 and a best price of $35,700. And finally, the Mazda MX-30 with an MSRP of $35,485, which was also the best price. Bear in mind, there are only 15 of those Mazda MX-30s listed on cars.com nationwide and only 2 used Mazda MX-30s, so that car's rare. Now let's get into the stats on the top 8. In 8th place is the Mini Cooper SE Hardtop. The Mini Cooper has an MSRP of $32,075. That is also the best price as I could find, as there are only 379 of these units currently listed on cars.com, only 24 of which are within 200 miles of me. The car is not eligible for any federal tax credit, so $32,075 is the MSRP, placing it in last on this list of 8 cars. For range, the Mini Cooper SE has an EPA range of 114 miles, placing it in 8th in terms of range. Its battery is 32 kilowatt hours, giving it an estimated efficiency of 3.56 miles per kilowatt hour, placing it also in 8th in terms of efficiency. That 3.56 miles per kilowatt hour at the rate of 23 cents per kilowatt hour and 1,000 miles a month driven is going to give you an estimated fuel cost per month of $64.40 $2,232.56. For resale value, the least expensive used Mini Cooper SE I could find was $23,491, which worked out to be 73.24% of MSRP, placing it in 5th overall in terms of resale value. Finally, for the hypothetical road trip to Galveston and back, because of the low range of the vehicle, it would require 9 charging stops and would be stopped at DC fast chargers for 3 hours and 54 minutes, placing it in 7th overall in terms of charge time. In 7th place is the Nissan Leaf S. It has an MSRP of $29,860, but I found one offered by a dealer at $24,386. The Nissan Leaf also is not eligible for federal tax credit, so that $24,386 is the net price, placing it in 3rd place overall on the price comparisons. For range, the Nissan Leaf, this specific trim level, had a 150-mile range with a 40 kilowatt hour battery pack. That places it in 7th in terms of range. The efficiency on this car would be 3.7 miles per kilowatt hour, placing it in 6th place overall in terms of range. Pocketbook-wise, that comes out to a monthly cost to charge at home of $61.33. Currently, there are 1,305 Nissan Leafs available nationwide. 578 of them are in this S trim level, and there are 27 of them within 200 miles of me. For the hypothetical road trip, the Nissan would require 8 charging stops, and it would be stopped for 5 hours and 0 minutes charging for that 615 miles. Finally, resale value, the vehicle I found was $16,994, which is 56.91% of its MSRP, placing it in 7th in terms of resale value. And I don't know if I said this, but it was also 8th in terms of charge time minutes. In 6th place is the Kia Niro EV Wind Trim Edition at an MSRP of $41,200. I found a dealer listing it for $31,200. There's no tax credit on the Kia, so that $31,200 is the net price. There are currently 1,747 Kia Niros listed on cars.com. 984 of them are the Wind trim level, and there are 32 of them within 200 miles of where I'm at. For range, the Niro EV has a range of 253 miles, placing it in 4th place in terms of range. It does that with a 64 kilowatt hour battery pack, giving it an average efficiency of 3.95 miles per kilowatt hour, also placing it in 4th place in terms of efficiency. That efficiency will get you an estimated fuel cost per month while charging at home of $58.18. For resale value, I found one for $22,800, which comes out to be 55.34% of its MSRP, placing it in 8th place overall for resale value. But here's the little asterisk that goes with that. This year in 2023, the Kia Niro EV and the Kia Niro internal combustion version had a complete redesign, and anytime a car has a complete redesign, the old design takes a hit in resale value, and so the one-year-old car is the old design. For the charge time minutes on the hypothetical road trip, the Niro can do it in 4 stops and be stopped at a charger for 1 hour and 53 minutes, placing it in 2nd place overall in charge time minutes. In 5th place overall is the Volkswagen ID.4 Pro rear-wheel drive with the small 62 kilowatt hour battery pack, 58 of which is usable. The price of the Volkswagen ID.4 has an MSRP of $40,332. Best price that I could find was $37,710. The ID.4 qualifies for the full $7,500 tax credit, giving it a net price of $30,200. 10, placing it in fourth in terms of price. Currently on cars.com, there are 7,005 Volkswagen ID4s available nationwide, 2,175 of them in the Pro rear-wheel drive, 102 of them within 200 miles of where I live. They are, in all three of those metrics, the most plentiful two-wheel drive EV currently available. For range, the small battery pack on the ID4 is capable of 209 miles, placing it in sixth place for range. With that battery pack, it gives it an average efficiency of 3.6 miles per kilowatt hour, placing it in seventh for efficiency. For resale value, I found an ID4 rear-wheel drive Pro for $30,998, which is 76.86% of its MSRP, placing it in third place in terms of resale value. And finally, for charge time minutes, this is why I give it the edge into fifth place, as I can't be accurate on it. A better route planner does not give me an option to select that battery pack for planning a route. So I went somewhere in between the battery options that it gave me. So I'm estimating somewhere around 2.5 to 2 hours and 45 minutes spent charging, which is going to place it in fourth place overall for charge time minutes. In fourth place overall is the Hyundai Kona EV in the SEL trim level. It has an MSRP of $35,280, and the best price I could find on cars.com was $32,030, placing it in seventh for price. There are currently 543 Hyundai Kona EVs available nationwide, 107 of them in the SEL trim level, but the closest one to me is 211 miles away, and there's only one of them within that range of 250 or less. So kind of rare, especially around these parts. For range, the Kona has an estimated EPA range of 258 miles, placing it in third overall, just 1 mile behind the car that's in second. It has a 64 kilowatt hour battery pack, giving it an estimated efficiency of 4.03 miles per kilowatt hour, placing it in second overall in terms of efficiency. That efficiency will translate to an estimated charging cost per month, driving 1,000 miles, of $57.05. For resale value, I found the Kona for $24,943, which is 70.7% of MSRP, placing it in sixth place in terms of resale value. Charge time minutes, it would do the hypothetical road trip in 4 charging stops, stopped for 1 hour and 58 minutes to charge, placing it in third place for charge time. In third place overall is the Chevrolet Bolt EUV. It has an MSRP of $28,195, and the best price I could find was $27,195, so a $1,000 discount. The Bolt EUV is eligible for the full $7,500 federal tax credit, bringing its net price down to $19,695, making it second overall in terms of price. There are currently 566 Bolt EUVs available nationwide, 347 in the LT trim level, and 15 of them near me. So the cars are getting kind of rare, so there's not going to be that much of a discount. For range, the Bolt EUV is rated for 247 miles, which places it in fifth place for range. It has a 65 kilowatt hour battery, which gives it an average estimated efficiency of 3.8 miles per kilowatt hour, placing it also in fifth for efficiency. That efficiency would get you an estimated fuel cost per month to charge of $60.52. For resale value, the Chevrolet Bolt EUV, the best price I could find on a used one was $23,995, 85.1% of MSRP, giving it the highest ranking for resale value of any car in the top 8. This is again because there aren't very many of them around. When I originally filmed this video, the Bolt EV and Bolt EUV had been discontinued, and that was the word from General Motors. Between the time that I filmed and went to editing, Chevrolet sent out an email to everybody who owns a Bolt, and it made the news that the Bolt was going to be brought back using an Ultium platform. There's very little information available now as to whether there'll be the EV and the EUV or just the EV alone. But that still means this resale value is tied to the limited number of Bolts available. How that will affect resale value in the next quarter, I don't know. I'll do an update to this video then and see what happened. But right now, right before at least GM made the announcement that the Bolt was going to come back, the Bolt EUV held the highest resale value. Finally, for charging time, the Bolts are notorious for being slow chargers. It would take 4 charging stops and be stopped for 3 hours and 27 minutes for that charge, placing it in 6th place overall for charge time. In 2nd place overall is this car behind me, the Chevrolet Bolt EV in the 1LT trim level. It has an MSRP of $26,595, and the best price I could find nationwide is exactly that, $26,595. Because there are only 493 of them left, there are 137 of them in the 1LT trim and only 10 of them within 200 miles of me. However, it is eligible for the full $7,500 tax credit, bringing the net price down to $19,095, not only making it the least expensive EV on this list and placing it in first in terms of price, but also makes it the least expensive EV currently on the market in July 2023. For range, the Bolt EV has 259 miles of EPA estimated range, placing it in 2nd overall for range. It does that with a 65 kilowatt-hour battery pack, giving it an average efficiency of 3.98 miles per kilowatt-hour, placing it in 3rd place for efficiency. Resale value, the cheapest Bolt EV I could find was $22,573 for one that is 1 year old. That is 84.87% of MSRP, giving it the 2nd highest resale value. And again, I have to think it's because of the rarity of them. People want the car because it is the least expensive EV out there. For the purposes of this video, I can't really deal with hypotheticals. I don't know what the redesigned Bolt is going to be. I don't know what the redesigned Bolt is going to do to affect the overall resale value of the car. It's supposed to be on the Ultium platform, and the reason that GM is bringing it back is because people still want it, and they still want it because it's low cost. So hopefully they maintain that low cost as the new model comes out. Again, I don't know what this new Bolt will do to the resale value of the current Bolt, but my stats are on the Bolt EV that exists right now in 2023. When the new one comes out, we'll add it to the list. For charging time, it can do my hypothetical road trip in 4 charging stops, spending 2 hours and 59 minutes stopped charging, placing it in 5th place overall for charge time. Finally, in 1st place is the Tesla Model 3 rear-wheel drive. This Tesla has an MSRP of $40,240. Now, I can't search new Teslas on cars.com. If you want a new Tesla, you order it on their website and you pay the MSRP, and currently they're estimating this month or next month is when that car will arrive. But you could also look at existing inventory. The largest filter I could get was 200 miles, and I found 54 Tesla Model 3 rear-wheel drives within that radius, making it the 2nd most plentiful EV that I searched for this video. And I found one at a price of $37,940, making that the best price on a new Model 3. The Model 3 qualifies for the full $7,500 tax credit, giving it a net price of $30,440, placing it in 5th place for price. It has a range of 272 miles, placing it 1st in terms of range. With its 60 kilowatt-hour battery pack, it gives it an average estimated efficiency of 4.53 miles per kilowatt-hour, placing it in 1st place for efficiency. That translates over 1,000 miles to $50.73 of electricity. On my hypothetical road trip, the Model 3 rear-wheel drive could also do it in 4 charge stops, but only spend 1 hour and 11 minutes, placing it in first place for charge time. For resale value, I found one for $29,500, and I checked to make sure it wasn't a branded title. That is 73.31% of MSRP, placing the Model 3 in 4th overall in terms of resale. So as you could see, it was really close between 1st and 2nd, and really close between 3rd through 6th. And then there's quite a big drop off with 7th and 8th on these top 8. If I were to include those 6 honorable mention vehicles into this in-depth comparison list, however, just to let you know if you're curious, the Kia EV6 Lite would jump up all the way to 2nd. The Hyundai Ioniq 6 SE standard range would jump into 4th, and it would knock the Nissan Leaf and the Mini Cooper out of the top 8. But the Tesla Model 3 would still be 1st. The Bolt EV would drop down to 3rd. The Hyundai Ioniq 5 would end up in 9th, the Nissan Leaf in 10th, the Nissan Ariya in 11th, and then a tie between the Ford Mustang Mach-e, the Mini Cooper, and the Mazda MX-30, all tied for 12th. Now the MX-30 scored really well on resale value because there's only 15 new ones and 2 used ones available for sale in the entire country. So right now, their prices are pretty high comparatively, but in every other metric, it didn't score very well. Like with my all-wheel drive video that I released, I plan to update this video quarterly because EV prices change. The prices that I used in this video in a couple of days, by the time I have this thing edited and published and put up on YouTube, those cars might be sold. Some prices might have gone down, some prices might have gone up. This is only a snapshot of this moment in time. So again, I'll update this in a few months and see where we're at there and see what new EVs come to market that might shake the list up. Thank you very much for watching, and subscribe for some more content.